When to kill your Facebook ads. Hey, what's up guys? It's Brennan here, back at you with another video. So today we're going to be going over the exact metrics for when to kill your Facebook ads. So this is the individual ad sets. When do you actually shut them off within your campaign? Because obviously you're testing a bunch of different ad sets. You're trying to figure out which ones are profitable. When do you decide to actually cut one, okay? So these are the exact metrics you need to know. Now there is a lot of complex aspects to this, but at the end of the day, it is actually pretty simple. So the first thing to understand when you are deciding on whether or not to cut the ad set is, well, has it made you a purchase, okay? So if it has made you a purchase, that is the first step here. If it's gotten you a purchase, right? If it has one purchase, you still might want to cut it, okay? We're gonna be going in depth on what exact other metrics, but this is probably the first thing to understand. So if it's made you one purchase, right? Maybe you keep it. But honestly, most of the times you want to have anywhere from, instead of just one purchase, you want to have anywhere from 2 to 3 on the total ad set. Now, obviously, you might not have actually 2 to 3 purchases yet on that ad set. Now, that is kind of how you decide to actually keep it, right? That's the first thing you need to understand. If you have an ad set that's gotten you 2 to 3 purchases within a certain range of time, which we're going to be explaining, then you would keep that ad set. Now, when to actually kill it is when you haven't made an actual purchase yet on the campaign and it has exceeded your BEP. So your BEP, all right, stands for your break-even point. So your break-even point is what that stands for, your BEP, right? So how do you actually calculate your break-even point? So and it's very simple. The way that you calculate your break-even point is to take your total amount of money that you profit from the sale of that product, the single product, okay? I know if you may have some upsells and all that kind of stuff, but calculate this off of if you just made one sale off of the single product that you're promoting. So say, for example, you make one sale, and let's just say that your total profit after the Shopify takes their fees, literally everything. You want to calculate this exactly so that you don't mess up your ads, but it can be within a range. But ultimately, let's just say you profit off of a product. Let's just say you profit like $17, okay? You profit $17 off of this product, right? So that is the total amount of profit that you make from the sale of the product, okay? After so say you might be selling it for like $18.95 or something. I don't know, right? So you have the product right here. So you profit $17. Now, obviously, you also have product costs, so that comes into this as well. So that's the profit that you get from Shopify, but of course you also have to spend money on the product. So let's just say, for example, your product only costs you $2. Now I'm using easy numbers here because obviously a lot of products it might be like $1.63, but you still doing the exact same math here. So you have your total profit, so let's just put a P here. So your profit after the Shopify fee and all that kind of stuff, or PayPal fee, is $17. Then you also have your product cost. So this is like, well, let me just put this as an S. So this is like your Shopify money, right? Or your $, okay? Right, your Shopify money is there. And then you also have your P for product cost, okay? Let's just use that as an easier example there. So you also have your product cost is $2. So then all you have to do here is subtract it, and then you get a total of $15 total for this product, okay? That's after everything happens, okay? That's your break-even point on your product, okay? You have $15 is the amount of money that you can pretty much have room to spend on your actual ad before you start going negative. So this is the total profit after you take into account your little fees here on the product, as well, like the Shopify fees or PayPal fees, that goes into the $17 that you earn into your bank account or your PayPal account. Then you have to subtract the product cost, which in this case $2. So then you have $15 total at the end of the day. So what does this BEP mean? What is that $15? So that is basically the amount of money that you have to spend on ads. So you want to let your ad set run up until the break-even point. So let's say, for example, we're running an ad, right? We have one ad set here. Okay, this is an ad set, right? One ad set, one single ad set, okay? We have this one here. We're going to let it run until it reaches up to $15, right? Because that is the total break-even point for the product after we take into account the fees and the product cost. So $15 here from one ad set, that is basically how long we let the single ad set run. That's how we're going to let all these different ad sets, right? We're running multiple different ad sets. We're going to let them all run until $15. And if they don't get a single sale, if they don't get at least one, sale, then we're going to cut it, okay? If it doesn't get a single purchase, right? So it needs to reach the break-even point before we cut it, because if it doesn't reach the break-even point, it could have gotten a sale at $10 spent, and then it could have optimized better and gotten you more and more sales. So you don't want to cut off these ad sets too early. You want to let them run up to your break-even point, then you can decide to cut it, okay? This is really the core here, is once you have at least one sale on it, and it starts to impact your total return on ad spend, which we're going to get into now. So you want to let it run up into the $15 mark in this example. Obviously, you guys have to go into the calculations I just had up on the board on what your product break-even point is, okay? Obviously, like we said, how to calculate it. So you have to calculate that, and you let it run up to that number, and if it didn't get a sale, if it got 0 sales, right? If it had 0 sales within that range, then you kill it, okay? Because it's spent up to your break-even point. Don't let it run anymore, because then you're just kind of hoping that it might get a sale. Okay, there's going to be ad sets that will get you sales within that break-even point, okay? If it doesn't get you a sale within that break-even point, you're kind of just hoping that it will get you a sale. So cut it, move on to the next ad set, the next targeting that you're doing. You know, you're going to be running so many ad sets, just cut the ones that aren't performing as well, and you're going to have ones that get you sales within that break-even point. That is really the whole purpose here of your ads. You want to have a lower ad spend than your break-even point, and that's the difference that you profit, right? You profit what you spend on ads, so your ad spend would be under $15, right? It's underneath that number. So under that, and then you make the money, right? You have your $15 total, your break-even point, you minus the ad spend. So maybe your ad spend was only like $5, and you profit a nice $10, right? You profit a good $10 right there. So going into this, then, what is that $10, right? What is the ad spend money? So that is then calculated on Facebook as your return on ad spend, right? Your return on ad spend then stands for ROAS, okay? Your return on ad spend. That is then the number, so say like you had $15 total profit, like we calculated in this example, and then you said you had $5 total ad spend, right? So you had $5 ad spend. Your total profit and ROAS would be $10. Now, I know that Facebook actually does calculate it for you. They subtract it and give you an actual number. Typically, you want to keep your ROAS when you set this up in your Facebook, which I'll probably be making a separate video as well on how to actually set up your metrics on your Facebook account as well, to show the ROAS and to give you all these data points that are very important so you can understand if your ads are actually profitable. So you have that $10, right? That is your total return on ad spend. That's the money that you keep. Now, the actual number on Facebook, you typically want to keep it above a 2. So a 2 is at least profitable. It's not exactly a great return on ad spend, like a 2 times return on ad spend, because obviously you have product cost, and Facebook doesn't really account for your actual product cost. They just look at the total amount that the sale was versus the ad spend. So they're not exactly giving you the best number directly, so I would look for at least a 2. Honestly, a 2 plus is probably a good ROAS. I would aim, honestly, for about a 3. A 3 ROAS is still pretty solid. That's generally what you want to aim for, so that you're still profitable after your product costs. Because like I said, Facebook doesn't account for your actual costs of running your business and all that kind of stuff. So they don't account for the cost of goods sold, which is also stands for COGS, but that's another thing within itself. So this is really the key here, is the ROAS. Now, another thing that some people may look at as well, which honestly I really don't feel is the super important, but it is something I figure that is still important enough to cover, because a lot of people still do talk about this. It's like, really the biggest metric is what I just talked about, the ROAS. That is, at the end of the day, the most important thing. Are you profitable on your ad spend? Okay, so the other thing is people look at like link clicks, right? And this is something I'm covering because it's a common question, okay? Oh, what are my link clicks, right? How expensive is my link clicks? Is it under $1? You know, under $1 is generally pretty good. Like if it's less than $1, then that would be a pretty good link click, right? It's under $1, maybe it's only like 80 cents per link click. then that's pretty good, okay? But link clicks at the end of the day aren't the be-all, end-all. You need to be looking at the ROAS and the total amount that you're earning. So like I said, anywhere from like a 2 to a 3 is pretty baseline. If you're not getting that, definitely just cut it and move on to the next thing, because you want to have the generally higher return on ad spend so you can make the total amount of profit that you're looking for in your business. So that's really the biggest thing here when learning how to cut ad sets. Don't even pay attention really to the link clicks or like the amount of reach. Like reach is another thing. Some people are like, oh my god, I had so much reach on that. Reach does not matter if you're not making sales. Like, people get kind of delusional with looking at the link clicks and being, oh, such a cheap link clicks, this is the best. Oh my god, this reach is amazing, right? That does not matter if you're not actually having a return on your ad spend. At the end of the day, you're trying to be profitable with your business, so look at the return on ad spend and get your dang profitability in there, because everything else is just numbers. Like, it's cool data to look at within Facebook, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You want to spend up to your actual return on ad spend and up to your break-even point. Like I had said earlier, you want to spend up to the break-even point. Once you spend it, just cut the ad set, move on, and look for those. Generally, 2 to 3 is a good ROAS average, because when you get a sale, it might jump all the way up to 6. Okay, I know I have one right now that just like jumped up to 6, and it's like, whoa, it's like a 6 return on ad spend, 6 times my money. That's great. But realistically, anywhere from like a 2 to 3 is what you can aim for. If you go below a 2, you're generally not going to be that profitable, or you're going to have such a small profit margin to work on that with everything else in the cost of the business, you're going to end up just losing money at the end of the day. So look for that ROAS. Make sure you follow your break-even point for cutting your ad sets, and that should definitely help you out with your campaigns. If you want to learn more about how to build a profitable Shopify business, I've linked to my course down in the description box below, as well as a Shopify 14-day free trial to go ahead and get yourself started. Feel free to check out the videos beside me, subscribe to the channel, free Facebook mastermind group, and follow me on Instagram. Everything is linked down in the description box below. But anyway, guys, that's all for today's video, so I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.